What's good? This is Marcus the Fingaz, entering another competition by We Sample Everything, another sample contest. Actually, let me bring this up real quick. Here's the contest right here. You know the drill, download the sample, drop a small video clip, how you flip the sample, tag everyone. So shout out to Cheese, the producer, Beatmaker as a squad, Cypher Omni, Dragonfly Bride, Chick on the Beat, and J1 Star Beats for this opportunity. They've been doing some dope things. I'm fairly new to the We Sample Everything team, but they've been doing some dope things for producers, sample challenges, contests, releasing tutorials, sample kits, merchandise, all kinds of stuff to help the producer community. So for this contest, they provided a sample. I took it into Beatmaker 3, you know how I do. And I actually tried to use a lot of elements from the sample. It was a sample that had different sounds in it. So I tried to use them on different tracks and split the sample up. And the only thing I added that wasn't part of the original sample was the drums. So here we go. Here I am in Beatmaker 3. Let me play the sample for you real quick. It was this one right here. So I won't play the whole thing, but as you can hear, there's a lot of elements in there. And what I like is the sample actually had different sounds, but they came in at different times, so they weren't all layered on top of each other, so we could chop it up, do whatever we wanted. So what I did was, I think I started with this reverse bell sound right here. So I chopped them all up first and threw them on separate tracks. So they actually aren't in the order that I recorded them, because I found the sounds, chopped them up first, threw them on the tracks. But I started with this reverse bell. So the original bell, this is the original sample for that bell. So I started with that. I lowered it down 3 semitones and I reversed it. And I came up with something like this. Let me solo this. So that was basically the basis of everything. And then I actually don't know where I went next, but I used that as a basis. And I chopped up the sounds. So I came up with guitar chops, another delay bell, the synth pad, reverse piano, piano, and bass. So the guitar part, here's the original guitar that they had going on. Actually, it's this one. So that does this thing. I actually threw some effects on there on the actual. I threw it in star clef grand to add some sort of guitar effects in there, and I used this Bone Machine preset and then tweaked it a little bit, and then I used the FAC Altezza to add some of that reverb. I have about a 44% feedback, and you see my settings there to just give it some space. Here's what the guitar is doing. Let me see, is that at the beginning? So I pitched it down 3 semitones. So all the samples I pitched so that they're in the same key. So I pitched them all down 3 semitones. This one I did not reverse, so I kept it going forward. But I pitched it so that it sort of matched what I was doing here. So here we go. So right now it probably doesn't make any sense at all to you because of the way it sounds. But once you hear the sounds blended together, you hear you'll see what's going on. So delay bell on this one, I took that sound, chopped it up into some pieces. So those different chops there, those come in right around here. So that's what that's doing. I threw a high pass filter on there, and then some stereo delay just to give it some of that space and some of that delay in the ears. The next track I got going on is Synth Pad. So this one I chopped up. I believe it was this sample here. So I actually brought that down 3 semitones and chopped that up into 4 pieces. And here is what those chops sound like. We'll bring this in right here. And I have that going through Quattro Mod to add some whiff to it, and then that going to Alteza for that reverb sound, and then got some Effectrix, this emerged preset. I don't know if it's a factory preset or if it's one that I installed, but I might have tweaked that too. But here's that Effectrix setting. That's where you're getting some of that, some of those effects and glitches and stuff in that sound. So I have that on the Synth Pad. Again, that's from the same sample that was provided. Reverse bell, I started with that one. You heard that one. Reverse piano. So I really like the piano sounds that are in here, the reverse piano and the piano. I bring that in sort of in a later section of the song. Here is what the original reverse piano sounded like. Let's bring that back up. So it actually wasn't reversed. I called it reverse piano because when I chopped it up and sampled it, I reversed it so I can get these chops. And I'm only using those 2 chops, and here's what they're sounding like right about here. So that comes in right about there, and then I have this other piano layered under that. This is where I used I didn't reverse it, and I used some of the chops. So here's the original of this piano here. So I pitched that down 3 semitones and chopped that up into these parts. So I like those hits there. Some effects I got on there, just a stereo delay. And here is how that sounds. I actually played both of those pianos together so you can see how that blends together. So that's the pianos, and then finally from the sample I used the bass. It came with a pretty generous bass that I just chopped up to sort of come up with the bass line. The original bass, I believe, so here's the original bass line. So I basically took those and basically chopped it up through some Go-To EQ by Clef Grand. I used this Good Start preset at the top here, and then threw it into Low-Fly Dirt to add a little bit more warmth to it, and then a little bit of reverb. Some of the bass was sort of cutting off before I wanted it to end, so I just wanted to add a little bit of space to it just to give it some space in the mix. So here is a sample of what the bass is doing in the mix. So very exciting. Just one note there. Here's a little bit more animated bass. So, and you also hear it cutting off a little bit. It actually sounds okay in the mix. So I like those chops in there because it gives it that sort of chopped up sample feel. And then you also hear some of the vinyl in the background, which I'll get to in a second, because that was in the original sample that was provided. It was a lot of vinyl background noise. So I left some of that in and some of the sounds. And then finally, drums was the only thing I added. So all the other sounds were from the original sample that was provided. I added drums and I don't remember which kit. So I used some Cymatics drums on this. So this is their Signature Series hip hop kit, Signature Series snare, one of their hi-hats, another kick. I like this snare because it has that little metal in the background. A little percussion sound, another percussion sound, and then the vinyl I took from the original sample that was provided, and I threw in some vinyl just to lay it under the whole beat. So you hear some of that vinyl as if it was off a record. And then this right here is my my tag.
The fingers on the beat,
which you hear at the beginning of this track. So the drums I actually threw into FAC Transient to add that punch on drums preset. I didn't tweak anything here. I just used that preset going into Maxima. Again, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know this is sort of my drum channel. Into Low Fly Dirt. And then Effectrix comes in with these settings throughout the beat. You'll hear some reverb on that metal snare hit on every other bar coming in and out of the beat. And then you'll hear some of this filter coming in. So it's not throughout the whole beat, but you'll hear it come in and out. So that's basically it. Finally, on my main out, I'm constantly tweaking my what happens on my master bus or main out here. So my current master bus channel consists of this Toneboosters real bus. I usually go between this master tape 15 and this master tape 30 preset. And I just put that at the top of my master channel of the main out. And just depending on how much compression I want, how it affects the sound of the track. So on this one, I went with the 15, I believe. Then I add some stereo width to the track. So on band 1, which is the low end, I usually take it either all the way down to 0 or close to like 20, 30, 40, somewhere down there. Band 2 is usually between 110, 130-ish. Band 3, I actually usually do between like 150, 170. And then band 4, close to the 200 range. And this is basically how wide these bands are. So the bottom end, you pretty much want like your kick and bass pretty much in mono. And then as you go up sort of the frequency spectrum, you sort of get it wider and wider. So I like what that does to the mix. I believe this is a free plugin. I don't know the company, but stereo width, check it out. And then finally into Bark Filter, I'm using the triple band preset. If you've seen other videos, you've seen me talk about this before. This is sort of like a master final mastering thing that I throw on the channel in Beatmaker 3. So triple band preset, bring the output gain down a little bit so it's not like clipping anything. And that's basically it. So this is what we'll do. We're going to play through the whole thing. Here we go.
the fingers on the beat.
So that's it. Thank you all for checking it out. Shout out to We Sample Everything for this dope challenge, for the opportunity, for these contests, everything they're doing for the producer community. Shout out to all who enter. Good luck to everyone who enters. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check me out. Follow me on social media at the Fingaz, DAFINGAZ. And we'll see y'all next time.